we will call this meeting to order. First on the agenda is introductions. Have anybody that?
I wasn't here last time, so Amanda Taylor, I own Taylor Realty downtown, and I've lived here for 21 years, I guess.
I'm Jean Lancaster.
I do.
I'm Carrie. Everett.
Turn around, community planner Katie Clark.
Nice to meet you.
Speaking.
Roger Garland,
Daryl Wyman.
Robbie Bickford.
Richard Levelle.
Okay, number 3, discussion action on February 11, 2026 meeting minutes.
Make a motion to accept them.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right, number 4, survey development discussion. I'm gonna hand that over to you.
Great, so I believe we mentioned at the kickoff meeting that part of the comprehensive planning process is a survey of the town. So typically the way this goes is that we are going to develop a survey and we have a template that we usually use. And we're gonna look it over together right now. See if we want to get rid of any questions, add any questions. We'll host it on a KV Cog server, so we'll distribute it however you all see fit, but the best way to reach people is. And we'll finalize it next week after we read the questions, see if we want anything to add. Or next week, next month. Then we'll post it for, I believe it's a few months, and then we'll use that data moving forward and get a snapshot of where the town's at. Part of the process is required. It's 2 required public events, and this is considered one of them.
Okay,
Is my understanding. So yeah, does everyone have this document? This one with all the bullet points. So we can just go walk through these. Happy to read them out, or if we feel comfortable looking through it, and making comments. So we can take a few minutes to read through it, or I can go one by one.
or we can go page by page, take a look at it and then do it ahead or go good.
Sure. We all just want to read through it one page at a time and make a note, any notes, or. Sure. Start page 1. Question 1, how important are each of the following to you when you choose when choosing to live in Norridgewock? You can throw it out now too if you'd like.
Standard questions and responses.
Yeah.
They don't change by community.
I think it's pretty common for a town to add one or subtract a question if there's something that feels like pertains to the town.
So I look at tax rate
Okay.
and I would be curious about people's perception of real estate value.
Okay.
And mill rate, I mean, whole
Exactly.
yeah. Because obviously, mill rate has an impact, also value of real estate, because it's not.
Right, but when you move, it's how am I paying for my real estate? But a lot of people say I'm relocating to Norridgewock because the tax rate's down.
Good copy of this stuff, so.
Yeah, I think some, yeah, I haven't read this, but I think some generalized questions about, what do you think about the tax rate? How important is maintaining the low taxes to you and how they build people are moving through there? That's everything questions, not just.
Right.
Keeping about those. I don't wanna be that guy.
Go for it.
I would rather review this at home, take a few minutes to digest it, and then we can provide the feedback, or you can send us this link, we can go through it and then answer questions versus us sitting here in a room reading privately.
That sounds fantastic.
Are you guys everyone good with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
No, no worries at all.
Way to be that guy.
I'm that guy. A month, a year and a half ago at home, and if I can be there to help my wife versus sitting here reading this paper. I'm happy to have discussions, but.
I just want to make sense, and again, these meetings are meant to work for your town, and whatever you all need or would like to see at these meetings, that's how it should be directed, so that's perfect.
Cool. So you will send this draft link to all of us and we will review it via the link and provide feedback.
Sure, yeah, I'll send you a PDF of the questions, instead of, cause I gotta check to see how SurveyMonkey works, but I'll send you a way for you to
Oh, we're
do
using
it.
SurveyMonkey?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, so I have a follow-up for that. So if you send it to us. So we're gonna still spend time going over this.
Just not all of us
Page by
sitting,
page.
just not all of us sitting in a room mean,
understood.
it's on
I
our,
just don't wanna, okay,
does that make
So-
sense? Like,
Yeah.
at our discretion, so like if it's 7 o'clock at night and you're bored, you can do it versus.
Mhm.
4 o'clock, being late for dinner.
I'm not working dinner tonight even, so.
You know what I mean, like,
We'll convert
I
this
had
to,
a bunch to do from the beginning, but I might have missed your spot, so just let me know, Chris, okay?
we'll convert this to a Word document before the end of the week.
Yeah,
And
I'll
we'll send it out and then we'll allow for impact comments or just for you to respond back. Is that easier?
Comments, oh, either way, yeah,
We'll let everybody modify PDF or comment on the PDF.
yeah, comments and everything.
Not everybody can, you have to pay
You
for
have to
it.
have a special Adobe account.
Right,
Okay. So yes, perfect, that would be helpful.
yep.
Alright.
Okay. So, the review of population and demographics section.
So yeah, I sent this out last week, so I believe everyone had time to read it over. Familiar yourself with the changes. So I'm just gonna go through the document and we're gonna discuss anything. Does anyone have anything to start with necessarily, or should I just go comment by comment? There aren't too many changes left to discuss.
Yeah, sure. definitely.
Also some more information, so regarding on page 2. Table 1. I looked at the 1860 census and the way Norridgewock was detailed was north and south Norridgewock. And so I combined the population of both those two towns. And that fits the general scheme a lot better.
Okay.
So, Richard's comment and table 1 highlights, and it is list point 4. And the comment is between, or the bullet point is between 1950 and 60, the automobile infrastructure and the infrastructure needed to support it became ubiquitous. Population increase in that time period coincides with the revelation that people do not have to live in the immediate area, which they were, causing the suburbanizing boom that's still going on today. I believe the comment, or you can correct me if I'm wrong, is it seems like a bit of a stretch of assumption for analysis. We can remove it, we can change it. Do we have any recommendations? Do we feel comfortable just getting rid of it?
Just cite a source,
That's less.
yeah, throw a source in there.
Okay.
If that's, I mean, where did that data come from? I mean, where did that assumption come from? So if you have, peer-reviewed studies that show that happened throughout Maine or the United States, I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, I think it's probably, assuming that similar doesn't happen across the state. Also reflect that change in Norridgewock as well.
Sure,
So
yeah, there's a
just
study,
cite
right?
that, yeah.
There's gotta be a study
So
somewhere.
get more specific.
Throw cited in Bickford et al. 1996. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I think this is, to me, it was more of a generalized comment. It's not sourced from any sort of a source.
Well,
That
This
was
is
like a
assumption.
GPT to me, like a Google.
yeah, but there's a source, yeah?
Yeah.
You didn't just make this up.
No, this is not just made up. It's based
Right.
off the sort of package that was sent to the state with general trends. And it's typically, I would assume it's extrapolated. I didn't write this document particularly, but it was written by one of my coworkers. So my assumption is that it was extrapolated from general trends that was applied to Norridgewock as well. Because oftentimes with the state data packages, these are the general trends that happen in this area of the state. Here's the general things that cause those trends.
So I think that, like, to Richard's point, yeah, say that then.
Okay,
Along with the general trend in the state, this decrease could be associated with blah, 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 blah. And then I want a site, I want a source, like, that's general APA format, yeah, like, source, put your sources in,
sure.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right, cause like, if I chat GPT something, it could say this, and then I'm gonna click on the source, right, it's a little link there.
Hmm.
Click on that source and see, is it? A blog that I wrote, which I would trust, or is it? National historic sites or whatever that says that. And I think that goes along with all the highlights of assumptions, right, Richard, what you saying?
But I think a lot of it is supposition.
Well, like the population decrease around the 1870s coincides with the westward expansion.
The people reviewing these documents also are part of the greater organization that provides the information. So we are parsing through information from the state, well, they're separate entities, but they're aware of the data sources that we're getting this information from.
Yeah, but this is gonna be for the town's gonna vote on this.
Also, I understand that.
They don't know that data.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a comment from Jean on points, the second point at the bottom. That actually might be my mistake, I don't know. Between town liquor club registration. I get nothing here to. Other than there to, I can add information, regarding this 2010. All-time high population number, or we can leave it as is if you don't feel like it does the work it needs to.
Do you think anybody would ask what the reason was with the borough, so just people moving to the area, or?
I think, it's important to include that high water mark, just to encapsulate the greater change in population over time. We can have more information if you all feel it's necessary, or we can leave it out. Sorry, that's a little bit vague way to answer your question. Yeah.
So I guess that just created a question, and I promise I reviewed this thoroughly before, but you just used the term high water mark. Which was used in bullet one of that same section, which refers back to 1840 to 1860 being the high water mark for us, for most central Maine towns. And then it says, as is the case for Norridgewock. When we look at high water mark, I thought we were kind of looking at a period high water mark. But you just implied that that high water mark is actually total high water.
Yeah, I think that I'll update the language on that. That's a good note. For that time period is the 1840, 1860.
Okay.
And that I can add historical or something that continues the era. Because I think that could cause confusion as well. So the modern high watermark is good and historical summit. Like the previous high watermark for the region is similar to Norridgewock, 1860. Well, that sounds good. Okay, with that comments, we can move on. I just changed the language on page 3, just grammar change. I understand discussed there. I also added in, so that you'll see these comments on the side that have a checklist question. So, the way the checklist are written and also reviewed is there's the 207 checklist, which are reviewed in the kickoff meeting, or Mel reviewed in the kickoff meeting. And I just leave those in there so you can see exactly how we are completing the checklist with this chapter. I updated also the median age for the year 2020. Not sure when that was put in originally, but I rechecked the correct table, the table that is pulling information from, and just made sure it all matched. I think some of the other years were tweaked, it's a 0.1 or 0.2 in a direction, but the 46 should have been 38. I think that was reflected accurately in a later table that Richard made note of. So that is now corrected as well. I believe the next change is on page 7. In the future, when these are printed out, I'll remove the formatting comments. I think the track changes might also adjust the formatting and also be out in the future. But if you can sort through all that, I reworked this paragraph. It's the same thing, just a little bit more coherent in my opinion. And based on some of the answers from you all in this feedback, I added some additional information regarding big camps, seasonal population, effects on the town. If you want to take a second to read that through, and see if there's any change you want to make.
So where was the original 65 number came from?
in the
Tax
census.
information, oh, so.
It came from the American Community Survey, the ACS, which is an extension of the US Census.
Okay.
To kind of fill in the gaps, so we can see trends going back 20 years. And that number came directly from them. Again, working with smaller towns, some of the information can vary widely, so. But that's where that data is directly pulled from, and that is what we're supposed to use to fill that table out and get that number. So if we have a more accurate number, I'm happy to add it. But that's where that data is coming from. Let me know when we're all set with the seasonal population section, and we can move on, or if anyone has any comments, they'll set with that.
Yeah.
So then there's comments regarding the services section. I added some more information regarding services that Norridgewock provides. Or in this section, it's typical if you are a service center to detail that, there's a definition of that. That Norridgewock does not meet the state classification point. But I did reflect in that second sentence there. Offering from the town as well.
What do we deem a service center?
There's a definition, I can pull it up for you, but I don't have it all.
I mean, Madison has a mini format supermarket, but that's the only additional service that they offer,
I believe it's a,
arguably. In Fairfield, we don't even have a supermarket. They don't really offer.
Oh, yeah, they
anything.
do.
Yeah, they do down
But look
there.
at IGA, I mean, Oakland has one too, they have the same thing.
I would say it's a service center. I would say Waterville was, their Skyline was, bigger towns.
I think that sentence is actually a bit misleading, because. Because I believe. If I, off the top of my head, if that's actually not classified as service center, I can double check that again, when finalizing this document. But it doesn't specifically say, it just says with these as their neighbors. Norridgewock is in the primary service center, but I should explicitly say which ones are the service center, I can make that change. Does that work? But yeah, there's a list on. An extension of the state website listing where service centers are.
Police, Madison doesn't have police anymore, but they pay the sheriff, so would that make a difference?
I believe it's,
Fairfield, Scotty can each have their own PD.
And maybe even break it out, primary, secondary, small and specialized. Service centers.
is that, and that's on, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll detail, I'll go into more detail on that section, regarding the three, or the neighbors in the town itself. And I can send that information to you, if that's interesting to anybody. So then, if we're comfortable moving on to the school enrollment data. Rich recommended I add the RSU 54 enrollment data. So that's the only change to this section.
So these are all changes that haven't been made, that are gonna be made, is that what we're getting at? That's not in here, right?
That's not in there?
No.
It doesn't say RSU 54.
Yeah, it does.
Oh,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
no, that was there before.
It said,
I wanted to add the towns that were in RSU 50, like Norridgewock and Smithfield and Mercer and
Oh.
Scarrigan. And Canaan and Cornwall. I think it would be beneficial to have all of the
All of
towns in there.
okay.
I think they're.
Versus-
This one is. which compress of Norridgewock, Keenan, Cornville, Mercer.
Right, but when we look at student school enrollment data,
Oh,
I mean, Stark's our neighbor only by crossing the river. They go to Mount Blue, I think, or
They
Barney.
actually have open
Starts in
enrollment.
Madison, I think.
I think Starks has open enrollment, they go to whatever town.
But anyway, there's almost a trivial number to us.
You must have.
The total
enrollment
number
data
is-
from RSU 54 of where each student's from.
Oh, right, but
Is that not what this is?
Well, it's
That is
included.
not all of
towns
the
that-
towns are in here.
Okay.
And I think it'd be beneficial to have the other district towns to see the trends in that. As opposed to something like Starks, which,
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Do you wanna remove Starks or leave it?
I know, they are our neighbor, but
yeah, I think
it takes
the-
half an hour to get there.
I think the towns are included as neighboring towns, and then, just encompassing the district itself, the data, but we can break that up further if that is what you'd like to see. So I'll keep all the neighboring towns and add in the towns that are members of
And maybe,
RSU.
and throw an asterisk on the RSU,
Okay,
so like, so we know which one we're in.
Yeah,
okay,
So it'd be like, and then on the bottom, where, under source, do asterisk, you know, the notes, RSU 54 attendees. And then it make it a little misleading, like, why do we have?
Mhm.
Where in Delaware? Yeah. What was? Okay.
Get over here.
I'm making this-
It have a way on our contribution to the school, but the population contributions on the.
Madison is a good one to keep though, because. That data will be going. So, I think as schools start to consolidate things and give it a little more key.
best practice is to maintain all, of those neighboring towns in the table as well, so we can have RSU 50, right, but I'm gonna keep the table as is, And I guess we'll keep the summary as well of all numbers, and then have, so then you can look at the asterisks and then don't do the math, so. I believe that the projection section, it's just the checklist questions right there. There's a comment I left under table 7, but, we're not gonna do projection, our uses projection method for current. We can explain that more, but that's just the. Then, I updated. I believe it'll be in red now, the changes that I made, to the announce section on page 1213. I changed some of that language, Go look at that section in red without the line through it, that's how it was changed.
So. Can you help me understand that? When I read through this, it sounds like the population of Norridgewock is generally aging. Thus, the housing is becoming less dense, right? You're gonna have one person in the house or 2 people in the house versus 4, right? And that's shown here, right? 2.22 average household size, right? With that said, why did the population stay the same in 2001 to show that there's a deficit in one and not the other? It just doesn't seem like we're just.
Sorry, what was that first part?
So this table doesn't. You're trying to show Norridgewock has a deficit of house. In this table.
With the assumption, according to the state economist projection, that household size will decrease as well.
Sure, but why is the household size decreasing?
Because it's state economist data.
And you call that out in this, right?
Mhm.
And again, that's because there are less people living in each house. So if there's less people living in this house, your population is gonna decrease. We're assuming the population is staying the same and the household size is shrinking.
So,
Am I just like overthinking it and just?
no, you're not overthinking it, I think it's actually kind of a fault, like a way this data portrays.
Right.
Is that first row is you do the projection, not assuming a shrinking in household size. With the current household size and the population, and the second one is with the household size decrease and the population decrease. So if that household size projection is true and the population decrease is true, there'll be a deficit of 7 houses. But if only the population decrease is true, the household size stays the same, there will be no deficit.
alleviating the housing crisis.
Yes, so it's. Okay,
Honestly, like this table is a little wonky, because you expect like it to be like progressive kind of,
Right.
but it's just adding more things into the
Mhm.
equation. And I think that. It's funny, yeah, I remember looking at it a couple times and being like. oh,
yeah, it's just where the data comes from is. Like, you can't necessarily have one without the other, but you are when you're adding it into this table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, you're making assumptions, you have to make assumptions based on this, so
Mhm.
it's fine, it's just
And this is like
standard.
greater than the powers of, like, this isn't our projection model, it's. I'm sure is informed by other things, but I agree with you, generally, that's a little bit strange.
You don't have a housing crisis if you continue the current trend. But if you assume the next one, then you do create a housing crisis.
Right, but you don't though, because you're also, your population projection is not accurate based on this decreasing household size.
I appreciate that, but it doesn't get you to that end result that some folks want you to see, is that there's a housing crisis. It's.
But it's saying there's not, there's 62 extra houses.
There is not right now, but if you take into effect that household size is gonna shrink, which is what everybody's telling
You
you.
can't take into effect household size is gonna shrink, but you're also maintaining the same population curve. that-
Different lifestyles. People just gonna live less together.
Sure.
If you
It's
have to
fine,
be able
it's
to
fine, it's
generate
fine,
a
it's fine,
housing,
I don't get it.
It's also aging people.
Right, so your
So
your
you're
household
gonna
size
have
is
less
decreasing,
people
but
in
that's what I'm
the
saying,
house.
is like. Sage grows up, right? And he's, we have 3 in our household, he grows up. We're assuming that he's staying in Norridgewock with his population, projection, not really, but we are, but then we're seeing the population decrease. And again, this table is, I'm sure it's standard format table, they usually plot numbers into, it's fine, it's just confusing. The way, there's too many assumptions being made, and where those assumptions are coming from is confusing to me.
Mhm.
It's fine, I'm done, that's my, I'll shut up now.
So we continue reviewing the analysis, section on page 12-13. Um. As you were some of the expanded, I believe, the section about pandemic assumption. Um. Yeah, it's more data around homeschooling, that is reflected on the table, but is informative to the school enrollment changes. Let me know when we're all set with that. So then, just to make sure I have a correct list here about the additional changes that need to be made. Some additional info into the table one highlights, typically around the 2010 bullet point. And making note of the different historical high water marks of population. We have. We're all set with the 65 seasonal camp. Even if it doesn't feel exactly right, that day is coming from one of the days where it's that part of this. Content. Expanding information about the different types of service centers, and making sure we highlight correctly what those service centers are. And additional information regarding RSU 54 in school enrollment data. And adding that asterisk to denote which towns are part of RSU 54 in that population comparison, that school population comparison. Do you have any additional comments or questions about this chapter? Okay, generally best practices that I'll make these final changes, and the town will publish it on their website as we collect them all. And then those will be, packed together, and sent off to the state for review once we get through next 11 or 12 chapters. I feel like the exact number. But that's one, so. Then we're gonna move on to talk about visioning materials. So. Part of the comprehensive vision statement, there should have been one, I believe there's one in 1997 chapter, but in different words of exactly called vision statement. And it's supposed to help guide this plan and the process, and our input on it. So. The purpose is to identify the desired condition of a community statement intended to set the stage for the future actions, direction of the community, and should be referred to on a regular basis. Guiding principles, goals, objectives, and implementation strategies outlined through the comprehensive plan were established to support this long-range vision and bring action to that statement. The vision statement describes the community vision for the town throughout the term of the comprehensive plan. So, I would take some time along with the survey questions to look over this and start thinking about this. And there's a lot of different ways to do this. Like oftentimes we'll write it and you guys will sign off on it or change it. We could have two people work together on this, two come with one, and then we could discuss. We could all take a shot at it, spend lots of time talking about it also. It's kind of up to you all how you want to go about this. On the final page of it, I talked about some elements that from my very brief introduction and research by Norridgewock seem important to the town, and feel free to reject some of these assumptions, add to them, expand on them. There's lots of examples of how towns do statements on the document as well. So I would just take time familiarizing yourself. We can talk either now about how I want to go about putting up the aspect, or we can put more time and touch back up on it the next meeting as well.
I mean, would it make sense for us to like all answer those questions on our own, like, and then I don't know, either send those questions to your, the answers and combine them into one and then, I don't know, write it from there. I personally like Hollowell's, the way Hollowell's is set up. It's the last example. I think theirs is a little bit more well-rounded. I don't know. It's just how I like things to be fun.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about another bit section. I think we're gonna talk about the policies and strategies in general. Some chapters can be paired with this policy and strategy tab, but I kind of think about this the same way. Like we want to think about where we want to see the town to go, like what that's the goal, and the vision statement should be reflecting how we get there. Like we should be enshrining those values that we want the town to be based around in the future.
That doesn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one, it sounds great, but then it's,
And then it's
it's
so
nothing
long.
forward thinking.
What also continues on? These are parts of it.
Yeah.
Oh, like
It's so long.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at, like, this is our community profile, and then we look at our comprehensive plan. I don't think our comprehensive plan is supposed to be like 5 pages long. I think it's supposed to be comprehensive. Like, I like that, like, Ingham offers small hospitality and charm, cool, but like, I don't know that it says. I don't know that like 5 sentences can encompass a vision for the town now and in the future. I don't know, I think I'm not saying I like everything about Hollowell's, I'm just saying. Like it's supposed to encompass like your history and your current and your future, and I don't know if I could say.
And to be clear about that last, like what it's supposed to encompass,
Mhm.
these are values that we base the statements around. It doesn't need to be all encompassing. Like, this is a list that I made, when reflecting on this question.
Right.
From, again, from the very little, in compared to you, that I know about the town.
Mhm.
So these are just more guiding ideas to help.
Right,
Those are all.
no, I get that, well, no, I just
Yeah.
said like, like your vision statement might be different than mine, like how I see our future and what I want for the future of Norridgewock is probably gonna be different from somebody else sitting at this table.
Mhm.
So like, finding a way to navigate it, to put it all into one vision statement for me is,
To me, it's reviewing these elements that he's kind of graphed out at the bottom.
yeah, no, I know.
What are you most passionate about? Are there any here you could live without? And what do you wanna add to them? Cause his bullet points down below almost translate to bullet points in a hollow vision statement.
Yeah,
And how do you make that happen? So I think to me, it's a matter of getting your proposed elements that are in the very bottom bullet list. Adding to them, everybody
Right.
send those in, and then we can prioritize them, and then see where they might overlap to combine them into one bullet.
Right.
Or knock them off the list altogether because it just maybe periphery or.
or not what we want in our vision necessarily,
Or already summarized with something that's more all encompassing.
Right.
Also.
So can we put that on the homework list?
Mhm.
And then, yeah, for next meeting, I'll take a spin at it.
So you're gonna write it down.
Yeah, we can review it, but if you send me, I'll collect the general themes of those and take a shot at it, and you all tear it apart in a month or agree with it, and you know, we'll go from there. But again, I don't want to get too lost in the weeds on this thing. But I do want your input on this. I just want to introduce it, so take the time to think about
So
it.
you want like bullets of like kind of things we're looking for, bring out like us to give it a whack and, or no?
If you want to give it a shot, feel free to. But if also you more have these loose ideas, like bullet points, you want me to come to something else,
Sure.
I'll give it a try as well.
What's the consensus on the format of like hollow wall, where you have a couple sentences and then you have 6 bullets? Does that work for folks, or do you wanna have it into a 3 sentence vision?
I like the 3 sentence vision thing, I think that would be less confusion.
I would like a vision statement.
Yeah, and like,
Short and sweet and to the point, kind of. Project. What do you prefer?
Well, I mean, I like the hollow one. Yeah. We need to talk about the bottom paragraph about Norridgewock statement.
so my thing with Hollowell isn't necessarily like the bullet points, like. I just like, some of the other ones are so like. Like, we're just gonna be great, and we're gonna, like, I don't know, New Portland is gonna let their residents' business have the freedom to pursue their various enterprises, like. I don't know, I don't want it to be so big that people are like, right? I don't know, like, are we gonna put much time into it, like, your thought, I don't know.
So I think one thing. Put on the list is land use, and where does this group see land use? Because what we see oftentimes is people say, don't put those ordinances out there. I don't want you coming to my property, whether it's a safety regulation or it's just an appearance regulation. I think that's gonna be a part of your consideration when moving forward. And I think that's probably a very important component of your vision statement.
What was probably really important in New Portland for the people that wrote this, you know, what I mean?
Just triggered that.
Right,
you know.
right, right.
But, you know, are there gonna be regulations with no obstacles, and there gonna be high obstacles and high regulations, things like that? We'll get into that more, but. That connects to commercial development, residential development. A lot of different things, so.
but also keeping the roots of what community is right now. and what
Right.
present.
You are here to represent people.
Yeah.
You,
That's- So,
So what do we wanna do?
For
What's the
homework?
homework? Yeah, I need to be clear, because I'm not.
What if we- so I think like the first group of questions is like kind of, like
Where
what
do you
we need to
want-
think
where-
about when.
Where do you want town to go, or?
Right, like that's kind of what you're like thinking about when you're thinking about the vision statement, but I think the other ones, like, for me, I looked at the 6 bullets and I picked out like the 4 that stood out to me instantly.
Hmm.
As what I would want in a vision statement or what my priority is in this community. I don't
Oh,
know.
one to the end,
Yeah,
or bullets?
yeah, so I think if we like sent an email that said, you know, I want in the vision statement something about the preservation of the historical resources, and here's why, or like just something like simple, you know,
So
and
like
then
maybe
kind
like
of providing all
three to
that.
5 bullets that we think we wanna see in the vision statement.
Right,
Okay,
because then if none of us choose like history of labor or manufacturing. You know, then we don't wanna really include it, like, we do have that history, but
Mm.
we don't know, I mean, we're a year in, right, close to, and. I don't know if that's where we're headed, you know, like, so maybe it's something new, like, maybe we have a different vision for.
alright, so 3 to 5 bullets of high priority items that we wanna see included in the vision statement.
Right,
Okay, I'm on it.
I don't know.
If you
that's
want
what
to
I-
take a crack at drafting a vision statement, that's
Okay.
also helpful as well, but again,
Bonus points, right?
bonus
Bonus
points, yeah,
In
yeah,
terms of do what?
goes towards extra credit, if you want to. Also craft a vision statement
Okay.
as a draft, it's like this is something I was thinking, this is how I would encompass those things, because, you know, you could list 3 to 5 things that be similar, like, okay, this would be summarized in this way. Yeah, but again. If it's challenging, like, I'll compile them, and we can go over it all together.
I feel like it would be more beneficial to not give away bonus points on this one,
I didn't.
because Robbie's gonna come up with something that nobody else is thinking of.
You're not wrong.
Right. And I think that's gonna get kicked back to everybody, because it might be a complete turnoff, or it might be something like, oh my god, I didn't think
Well,
about
that's what I'm
that.
saying, bullet points, we could all review our own bullet points and then.
I think we
Yeah,
should
let's do that,
simplify
right,
it.
then
Yeah.
Robbie's- yeah, like Robbie's done.
As long as
Voted.
I'll compile them into a vision statement for next meeting,
Sure,
and then
that's a
we
great idea.
can,
We can rank them.
Yeah.
However many we've got.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
okay,
Sometimes
So
you
you
don't
prefer
have
that-
the vision statement with just a couple words, or like your whole thought.
doing for all come up with a couple. Based on all the bullet points,
That makes sense.
and we can tear them apart and add to them in whatever way, going forward.
Okay, so just bullet points.
You know, I think.
Was that it for everybody on that one?
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm satisfied.
So number 7 is, oh, Sherry, you're here, you can take over. That's fine. Number 7 is the base planning map.
So we're reviewing 13 maps over the next year or so, we're working on this together. 11 months now. 10 months. And this is the first one, base planning map. It's meant to just give a snapshot of the town. Nothing too in depth. We're gonna be reviewing a lot more detailed information. Geographical information of the town. And. So. These have changed a little bit, so okay, first of all, I do old mapping for KV Cog. So as time has gone on and I've gotten feedback from towns in the state, this is the general format for this map that I've. Continued working with, this is the most updated aerial imagery from state. Your public roads in that darker brown, private roads. In that pinkish orange. Tan, whatever you wanna call it. The town legend for the town boundary is that. Dotted orange line that goes around. There's a mask, which is just a transparent. Cover over all the area outside of town, directly outside of town, so you. Get an idea what's on the boundary, but you know, it's not the focus of the map. These are different classifications of wetland that are in the town. then we have ponds, rivers, lakes, as well as streams. And there's also road labels on that, which are small. But it gets pretty tricky as you, blow those up in size. Yeah, just any edits that you like to see, I get it's kind of tricky. Not knowing what the rest of the maps will cover, and I can talk a little bit more about that, that's helpful. But initially, we also can, as we review more maps, try to talk about them as a unit. But these will be scattered throughout the plan, or they'll be compiled in an appendix, sorry, in the plan. And there'll be 13. And those 13 are this base planning map. There will be a relief, which is, the elevation data. I no longer do the topographical lines. It's going to be like a heat map going from like higher elevation to lower elevation. Usually it goes from white to like green. The color scheme I use. There's a historical resources map. There are 3 transportation maps detailing general road systems, crash locations, and I believe jurisdictions. We have a critical natural resources map from IFNW. We're beginning with habitat data that shows all the different critical natural resources in the area, wildlife. I have lots of things drafted already. It's a water resources map, which goes more in depth on the watersheds and other specific water bodies. There's a historical resource map so there's a historical district in town, that's where that's going to be. Any sort of buildings that are in the historical registry will be on that. We do a zoning map, an existing land use map, and a future land use map detailing growth areas, and we'll cover that more. Future. Is this all that? Hopefully this is useful. It's a lot of information on one, I realize that now.
Can I jump in real quick?
Go for it.
Because you can list the maps off and nobody remembers it, but.
Yeah, that's fair.
Can we change the color of the wetlands on this? Because we've got too much farmland and open space that the greens don't stick out.
Sure.
There's not much of it, is there?
I think there's more than we think. Well, all down in here, there's all sorts of greens down in here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I pull away with the background.
That's a great point.
And like, remove lake, please. Is there a lake on this?
No,
No, so it's not needed in the.
There actually is,
Oh, yeah. Where?
in Scout, just outside of Scout Vegan, that's technically classified as a lake.
Oh,
But again, we can remove that.
Outside of the town.
Yeah, we can
Right,
remove
right.
that. But
That's fine, it's
Yeah.
fine, it's not taking up too much room in the legend, it's just if we don't have any in it, but. So good. That's classified as a lake, huh?
yeah, it's interesting. It's where the Kennebec reaches the dam, it's gotta be again, it transforms technically into a lake. Classification wise, the water pools,
That's interesting.
Hmm, I
yeah,
never would have guessed
I
that.
never knew that.
yeah.
can we get rid of that, please?
Kind of.
Well, I'm kind of serious. Can we just get rid of lake in the legend, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Don't think people on that section would appreciate being taxed for lake frontage.
Ooh,
It's outside.
another level.
That's a good point, I wonder how it differs in cost, like if it does different classification.
Interesting.
And there are some, right?
Yeah, they're a little hard to see, they're small, but there is one in the north side of town at the end of Red Barn Road. Where Red Barn becomes private road of the pond. There is some smaller ones in Mill Stream that are almost invisible, seems like.
Would it make sense to have a copy of our TIF district in this comprehensive plan? Since it's part of our community now and will be for
First, probably.
another 15 years.
I think you already have on file somewhere a map of our transit-oriented TIF. If we could include that as one of the maps.
Sure.
Because you folks did that back, whenever that was done across all the towns. But KB Cog mapped that and negotiated the TIF for the town.
Okay. Yeah, we can provide a situation for that. We also include that district in the existing land use map that we'll review later on in the year.
I don't think it's on map, do you? In the, existing land use map. Maybe not, okay. Either way.
There's a lot of different names we can call these things, so like, if there's tip district, we do land, it'd be a zoning district map, be a land use map, there's flexibility on how we want to portray this information. Which I'm sure we'll cover in depth at the time.
Well, and that TIF district will expire, right? Like, once we hit a certain,
Well, you should be
Years.
doing another. Bump then before that, so
Okay.
it's a 40 year.
oh,
When it's never on it.
15 years ago.
There's the not strategy.
You will. Disappear with the rate.
So there are no more comments on the map, I actually have one more piece of other business, Step down. This will be quick, so I mentioned this briefly, a minute ago when I was talking about the vision statement, but along with the local economy chapter, which I have a copy of here. There will also be a policy and strategies, and those still need to be finalized. I'll send it out quite shortly, by the end of the week. Along with the other changes and documents I'm sending out. And so along with certain chapters, there are policy and strategies associated with chapters which are required by the state, along with the comprehensive plan. And we can add to that list. There's some recommended ones that are general best practice but not required, and then there are some required ones as well. This will make a lot more sense when I send you the policy and strategy document to go along with it. But I think it's best if we cover it, even without that document on hand right now. And I guess the best way to think about this is there's three phases. There's the goal, there's the policy and the strategy, and the goal is the general aspiration of the vision statement. The policy is how generally we're going to achieve that, and the strategy is exactly how to achieve that policy. So when you're reviewing those sections of these chapters, you can refer to this document to better understand it. Again, I'm sure there'll be more questions when we talk about it moving forward with associated chapters. But for now, does everyone have a good understanding of the purpose of having them and what these documents are going to be? Again, I'm sorry I don't have it today, but it still needs to be finished for the local conflict chapter. If there are questions, feel free to reach out when you see those policy and strategy components. I have hard copies of the next chapter that we can feel free to take a hard copy of. I'll also send a digital copy of it in the coming days. I just want to put those checklist questions in there so you can see exactly how the checklist is being answered. That's all I got, unless there's anything else.
the other business?
I do want to go through my personal homework list to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Okay.
Go send out a survey so people can have comments to it and spend more time reviewing it. Of course, update the chapter with the edits, and I'll send that. Once I have those vision statement bullet points, I'll draft a few for next month's meeting.
You have a date you want those by?
You can send those along with the chapter edits, so that would be 2 weeks from today's date, along with your chapter edits. That will be the, I believe, 10th. The 7th. Ideally, I'll receive those drafts, and then the 14th, I'll send those drafts for you all to review like we did this month. And we'll discuss it on the 21st. So yeah, local economy's next chapter. Fairly straightforward. Also, if there are like local business leaders that you would like to review it, I think that is generally helpful to get their input. So feel free to disperse that them as well. But that's all I have for now, unless there's anything I'm missing on that list. In the map edits, of course.
That's it?
Cool. Can I make a motion to adjourn? Second, yes. I think we did.